airplane going to America. I'm going up to London to speak with a flawless American accent so as not to arouse suspicion. So find me the greatest accent coach in the world.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 No. Let's break it down. I would
Weird. Like
to
toi
buy a hamburger. I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
It's not hamburger, hamburger.
I'm not saying hamburger. I said I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy the hamburger.
Hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Maybe we should stop.
We don't quit. We do not quit. Again.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 The burger.
What was there?
Okay, what kind of experiences have you all had with dealing with people that have difficulty with English?
Oh, studying abroad.
Yeah. How is that?
Our German teacher actually didn't speak English really, so when you try to, express something in English, it was effective for us at least, but and effective for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had a drafting teacher in college. He would say, "You need to join lines 1 inch," and I was like, "You have no idea what he was talking about." I had to drop the class because of it. Oh my gosh! So it was really hard. And statistics, I dropped statistics because I had an Asian guy who couldn't say probability at all, and I didn't know what he was talking about until later on.
Any other experience?
One of those very typical events where you call customer service and you get, unfortunately someone with a heavy accent from, I don't know where, but maybe India or something. It's really hard to understand what they're asking you for one thing, but then when you say something to them, they don't quite understand exactly what you say because your dialect or your accent is, they just don't get it. So it's kind of frustrating at times.
Yeah.
It happens.
Often they're sort of snafus with idioms, and so when your professor tells you that they went bar humping instead of bar hopping, hilarity ensues, and it's distracting.
All right. Well, from chapter 4, assuming you all read it, do you all remember the different programs that were listed for the English language learners? People that struggle with the different programs in the book that were popular. Because these are some things that you all will need as far as classroom. Kind of how to deal with people that struggle with English.
Did ESL classes?
Huh?
ESL classes?
Yes. Do you all remember? All right, the first one is immersion. What do you think that means?
Well, you're kind of sitting around 1 inch.
Yeah. So you kind of immerse the student in the classroom. The other one is maintenance. What do you think that means?
I just say hamburger.
Yeah, like checking on, periodically checking. So there are no misconceptions about grammar, things like that.
Kind of. But kind of maintenance, what where do you think that would relate to language though?
Where do you learn both languages?
Yeah, you kind of maintain your previous language. And transitional, what do you think that means?
When you switch over from one language to the other.
Yeah. So you kind of, you bring them in to the English language, kind of transition them. And there's the ESL pullouts. Have any ideas what that would mean? We've mentioned it before. What'd you say, Matt?
Did you say pullouts?
Yes.
Yeah, you just bring the student for some time, practicing the language, the grammar, the specifics of the, just practicing speaking, practicing writing.
Yes.
Which the other students don't need, but you try to keep them in the general education class as much as possible.
Yes. All right, and the last one was sheltered. What do you think that means?
And keep them from being scrutinized in the classroom from other students.
This one, it's a little more difficult, but
That's when they kept from speaking the other language, didn't it?
no. Well, you change the classroom to it. You kind of change the assignments and stuff, so that way it can fit them. So you could make the English a lot better. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and it's important that I don't know if you read this in the book, but these different programs have had mixed results and are controversial. So some results have shown that it's positive, like the immersion. It tends to be positive later on, but they've also some people have controversy over it. So it's important to keep that in mind. So, do you all know where you can go for help once you get to Jefferson County? Like if you have students in your class who have language difficulties, where you can go?
I would first say the English department.
Like an ESL coordinator or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I now have. I can pull it up and show you online. All right, this is the public. You got a Jefferson County Public School System, and you just go to ESL search. Type in it, and this is an example.
Cool.
So, and it lists the different. You can just contact one of them, and they can help you with the students. Any questions?
Do you have any idea how effective their ESL program is?
No, not off the top of my head. I didn't sort of reach too much into that. Yeah.
Fair enough. I just wanted to mention that my mom was actually an ESL teacher, and the programs that they had for our middle schools in Nash County in North Carolina, they were really, really bad. They were constant victims of no child left behind in this sense. I think I talked about it, but just when they were constant victims of having to advance students out of ESL and then halfway through the following semester bring them right back in. So they were still having the same kind of difficulties.
Yeah.
So this isn't necessarily a good fix. And so if you do have to coordinate with ESL, make sure that you're still keeping up with the student, because it's not like just a drop the student off there and it's not like a daycare. So.
Yeah. Katie or Matt, do you all know anything about the
Not really. I know there's a lot of ESL students in Jefferson County in the different areas.
And one example, Iroquois High School has tons of ESL, so certain areas will have a lot more of it. Some might have very little.
Yeah. All right. What do you all think about achievement grouping? Do you think that would be good for ESL students?
I think like they're all at a different level, probably.
Yeah.
Depending on their home life, too. Do their parents only speak the native language to them, or do they try to assimilate them into the English language and culture? And so I think, like, grouping them together as ESL, but not maybe necessarily by like achievement ability, because I could benefit from somebody who has a home life where their parents provide them English culture and language, if I don't have that.
Anyone else? What does anyone else think about it? Josh?
Part of either ESL?
Yeah, well, the achievement group, do you think that would be successful dealing with ESL students, you know, kind of why or why not?
I mean, I think it would help, but I don't know if it would necessarily, you know, promote as much as some of the other things that you talk about as far as like, you know, immersion, maintenance, transition, things like that.
Yeah.
It may help, you know, cause them to want to do better as far as like actually helping.
All right. There was a study that's done. It's printed in a peer-reviewed journal. The title of it was "Language Factors Associated with Achievement Group in Math Classrooms: A Cross-Sectional and Longitudinal Study." And it was done with the achievement groups in the math classes, and this was to evaluate whether the ESL students, you know, if you group them together, if they did better or worse. And there were three different groups. One was the English-only students, you know, that understood English. One was the ESL students, and the other was the dual language, where they had an understanding of both. And the longitudinal analysis looked at the growth, kind of long-term, kind of started in kindergarten, you know, how does it affect long-term? And the cross-sectional looked at the direct effect of it. And the results from it were both negative for the ESL groups, both the cross-sectional and the longitudinal. So, you know, the students started out, they were behind, and they never reached the English level of the English students. So, but the dual group, you know, they started out at the bottom, but they were able to catch up to the English-only students.
What were the dual groups?
That was where they started out, they didn't know as much about English, but they were kind of taught it as they went along.
So they
It was kind of the maintenance.
They could still like speak a little bit of it or not?
Well, yeah, they were taught in the English classroom. It was kind of like the maintenance program.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. And kind of the take-home message from the article is that it's better to leave students in the classroom than to kind of separate them from each other. And it said that the results were supported by the research as well. So you just don't isolate the kids by themselves. So, and some problems that were associated with the study was the teacher's influence and the decision making in the process. Okay. All right. What do you think some ways that you could help the ESL students in your classes? What are maybe some activities or different methods you can use teaching to help them?
I think like find out where they are, like if they have English in the home or not, and then you know how much you're going to need to help them.
Yeah.
Maybe giving them more chances to speak out loud, actually, so they can practice more. You know, obviously keeping up and keeping an eye on them in group work, for example, so that they are talking a lot, and getting practice, and not just listening.
Yeah. You have anything, Katie, to add?
Math, more word problems, where they have to get the math out of it themselves, because they'll probably be able to do math problems with similar, easier than the words.
Yeah.
I just make sure when you're taking, when you're evaluating them as far as like exams, that you take into consideration the fact that they may not be able to read the questions as fast as some of the other students. And that,
Give them a little more time, maybe.
Yeah. I had another girl from Japan in one of my classes, and she always, and the teacher would always, she always be the last person to turn in. But the teacher would rush her to get the things, and she did poorly on the exams, so she didn't have the results out.
All right. just to wrap up quick, there was a study that was done from a journal article called Qualitative and Quantitative Analysis of Students and Textbook Summaries. This was physics textbooks. And what the students did was that they got to take notes. These were students that had trouble with English, so the teacher let them take notes before they came to class on the chapter. And they turned it in. And then they took notes afterwards. They got to use them for the test. So, and the students' kind of response was that they felt the summaries helped them engage with the textbook and it helped them to prepare for the exam. But there was it didn't feel like it really helped them as much on the exam. So, and some of the problems were that the students, they didn't really know why the students made some of the selections they did. And they noticed that the first time through, there was a lot of copying that went on as far as equations and definitions and stuff. The second time, there wasn't as much, but it wasn't that big a difference either. All right, so those are some things to think about.